everyone. This is a Popcorn Heroes review of Westworld Season 3 Finale.
Episode 8, Crisis Theory.
On HBO. You can watch it on HBO. On HBO.
Only on HBO.
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it like we always do. I'm Armando.
Cool.
Forgot to say that. People do.
Yes.
Oh my God. People don't know who we are anymore.
It's true. Who are you?
I am Armando. With me as always is Pedro. What up, dude?
Hello.
So, we're just gonna jump right into it. There's no small talk here. We're just gonna jump into the deep end.
I'm ready, man.
Pedro, I'm gonna start off by saying that I was underwhelmed by this episode.
It's the definition of lackluster. I concur completely.
I just didn't care about anything that was happening.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest things that I was already like rolling my eyes at because I felt nothing was that they did a rematch of Dolores and Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we saw it last episode, and I already told you last episode I actually felt excited by it because I'm like, oh shit, it's finally happening. But when you do a rematch again, and we already know they can't die, like for real, because they both died at the end of the last fight and they came back. There really was nothing at stake in this fight. Absolutely nothing. And I'm just like, really, again?
I think it would have played better if there was convincing, like each other trying to convince something of someone else,
maybe,
or something. I don't know.
Or just not have another fight. Make that last fight the fight, you know? The rematch I wasn't feeling. I know they were trying to raise the stakes for a final episode, maybe with more action and bullshit, but I really wasn't feeling it this time.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I actually really love both characters.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, I don't care about this though.
And there was no twist essentially. Like it didn't need to have the twist that we thought it was gonna have, but there was no actual twist. Like every season had a twist.
There was no revelation.
Yeah.
Now I was talking to someone and they said, "Oh, the revelation was that Dolores was trying to save everyone." And I'm like, "But that's kind of what she's been saying all season. You guys just chose not to believe her, but I was actually believing her. I said in her own dark and twisted way, she wants to save you." So the fact that it was revealed that she really wasn't a surprise for me. It was just like, yeah, she said so.
Yeah. Even so, it was it's not a reveal. It's not a reveal. It was it was essentially clarifying her intentions, because you always thought her intention was through kind of what Bernard's eyes were of she was trying to destroy humanity, and that's how you still had the idea of that she was going to destroy humanity. And you know, I still had that. I still had the idea that she was going to destroy humanity, but it was never fully clear. Like you never knew what side she was playing because she was telling this guy one thing, but her actions were something else. So there was never really a clear definition of what was actually her intention.
Right.
This episode finally gave you that intention. Like, oh, this is what this was her plan all along. So it was not a revelation. It was just more of clarifying her entire season thread.
Well, I mean, it is a revelation. It's just an underwhelming one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because it technically is one. It's just one we didn't really care too much about. Not cared, but yeah, man. The finales. I mean, you're gonna change it the third season, but the first season, obviously, one was unbeatable. That revelation was amazing.
Yeah,
the second one had a really confusing yet to me a very interesting revelation. I was like, oh wow, that's great. And in this one, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they went too streamlined. Too mainstream.
Yeah. I know I had read an interview or two before season 3 premiered, and they were saying, for all you people that were confused last season, don't worry, this season's very linear. And I thought that they were kidding, but no, they were really fucking serious. The whole thing was linear.
It was way too linear, dude, and I didn't like that at all because that's what it's what always made Westworld special. It was their differences, you know, how
that's like having a season of Lost without anything, because you know Lost either had the forward, the backward, or the sideways.
Yeah,
but just imagine an episode of Lost without any of that. You're just kind of like, this isn't Lost.
it's not lost.
So this is kind of how I felt this season. I'm like, oh no, this isn't Westworld.
Yeah, these last few episodes have felt like that. Like, and it's the same thing we've been describing every single time we've talked about the show, is how it's so fast paced now. It had that Game of Thrones syndrome of it's not giving the characters enough time to breathe, to talk, to conversate, to give them that deepness that they were supposed to have.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think it's because of the complaints of people that aren't patient. And I'm going to compare this to another HBO show, Leftovers. Leftovers is a very slow show, but it rewarded you for your patience and the fandom. It was just like, it was great. And this kind of started off something like that, and then it went to Game of Thrones.
I think they just played too much to the audience who wasn't a fan.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate. It's like they mainstreamed their thing. I'm just like, but your show has never been mainstream.
Yeah. But also, now that we know that it's all what the season was about, this season also felt like filler for the next one. Because think about it. So the season 2 after credits was the Man in Black, a robot that's fully aware, not controlled, fully aware that it thinks it's a person, and then it realizes it, and and then you see that everything is in the far future, covered in dust and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And now this season ends with Bernard waking up to that time. So it's like, oh, we caught up to what was teased at the end of season 2. So you literally just did one entire season of filler. Obviously this is me really jumping the gun, when in theory you could do what your next season was going to be and then flashbacks of this season. Again, that's just me jumping the gun here, but it's an idea based off what I think next season's going to be about. So I really feel that this was filler, when to me this could have been the alternate timeline for the next season.
And also could have they could have presented the shit a little bit better. I think the last 2 teasers they did were essentially reigniting your interest in the show again, because you get the first teaser of essentially now Choloris is body switching people.
Yes, which is what we thought.
Which we assumed and thought it was gonna happen this season when we first started talking about it. So now you're actually getting her. Choloris's deal is body switching people, which is pretty cool. But now it's like, all right, cool. You're body doubling in the future, in the apocalypse.
No. I actually took that before. I think in the whatever the apocalypse is going to be, people have already been switched by that point.
Because she was printing a lot of bodies.
Yeah. All right, let's start getting into
So you feel this is before the Choloris part was before
Bernard's?
Yeah, I know, before Bernard. That's what I'm saying. So she's gonna be bought. Like, this is after Rehoboam died.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. She's essentially body doubling in the apocalypse.
Okay, yeah, technically. But when I think of apocalypse, I think of dust-covered Bernard.
Okay.
That's why. I was going a little farther, but yes, what you're saying. So I don't know about you, dude, but that finale scene where Aaron Paul is walking with Maeve, I was like, yo, this is totally fucking Fight Club. I was waiting for Aaron Paul to just turn over to her and go, you met me at a very strange time in my life, and just everything to start blowing up with the fucking Pixies playing in the background.
Yeah, you're so right, dude. I didn't catch that.
I'm watching that and I'm like, Fight Club vibes. Even the parts where they were like, yes, sir, everything needs a leader. And I'm like, yo, this is totally Edward Norton with his Project Mayhem. Yes, sir. Everyone. I was like, oh my god, it's crazy.
I think that.
So Dolores was Tyler Durden, and Aaron Paul was Edward Norton.
So instead of having a personality living with inside of you, it happened in the outside.
Yeah, man, I was like,
because Mr. Robot did the same thing of how he had the personality inside of him. So I think they were like, man, we can't go that route because it's been done already. So we have to kind of use that route on the outside of all instead of somebody's head.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I just thought that, and I'm like, it looks nice, but it's been done to death before.
Yeah. Overall, like, this episode wasn't bad. It was just,
it wasn't original.
Yeah. It didn't capture me. I literally spent the whole episode not caring about no one.
So
I didn't care. Even when Dolores was dying, dude, which is like the big part.
I disagree on that one.
What do you think?
I disagree. So, okay, so the way I thought about all these characters this season, I thought about them in story arcs, which we'll get to it, but there's certain story arcs that went absolutely nowhere. But we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
But going to the Dolores, I felt that this was the perfect way to end main Dolores's story arc. You know, it was the whole revolution, and then her like hate for humanity, but then it's the redemption in a way that she can see that there is good in humanity, and then she dies to save humanity, essentially.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just the perfect closure. It just sucks that she did it this season that I wasn't feeling. But I thought her arc as a character, I thought it was absolutely flawless. I was like, this is the way it should have happened in a better season, but this is the way it should have happened. I actually loved her death scene, which pretty much means to me that I'm just going to call her that, Prime Dolores is dead. She's never coming back in the show ever again.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. And if she does, I'll be even more pissed, because then it shows that this scene means nothing. So,
essentially.
Yeah, but I actually was moved by it. I was like, oh, wow, this is really good. In the rest of the episode, not so much, but this is a really good touching scene, because I felt like, I don't know, I felt her character like the full 180 of their entire like ending of her journey, and in the process turning Maeve, you know, back to where she was supposed to be, not misguided by the dumb, you know, stuff.
So
but
it feels like essentially Maeve's entire story arc was pointless also.
Kind of. It was more of like she was on the fence and she needed a push, and Dolores' death served as the push. Where it's like, where are you, man? You're just bullshitting. So the fact that because her arc had an ending of her choosing a side, I don't think it was a waste, because it ended differently, you know?
Yeah.
If this season would have ended with her still on the fence, I would have been like, you were pointless. Yeah. But because she chose a side, I'm like, okay, I'm cool with it. Sure, there was filler shit like her killing the Nazis gratuitously and all that, but the way her arc ended, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it, because it makes sense in the character now, especially since she pulled a Star Trek mind meld where she felt everything Dolores was feeling. So now she like 100% understood everything. So I'm just like, oh, that's cool. So it really just showed that her last act, her sacrifice, did a lot of good stuff to move the story along. So I was like, I really like that. That's unfortunately the only thing I really liked this episode.
Yeah. I want to bring back to something that I just remembered right now, that his name is Chubbs, right? Or Ashley, whatever his name is.
Stubbs, yeah.
Stubbs. He pointless.
Yes.
Because he ended up
one
dying.
Of the characters.
He was dying. He literally died, and Bernard didn't even save him. Instead, he went to get uploaded to the system to see how they're living. So it's kind of like you would just wasted this guy's time. You could have killed him in the park when he wanted to actually die or stay there. He wanted to stay in the park.
His character was completely pointless. Absolutely, the most pointless character actually was definitely him by far.
And I found it strange. Like, why couldn't you just, if you were gonna upload yourself, why didn't you just upload him? Like, upload him and then go yourself.
Yeah. He's probably thinking when he comes back, he'll just be able to put him back online and use him again. I don't know.
So dumb, dude. I didn't like that.
Hey, Stubbs, bring yourself back online. He's gonna be like, you son of a bitch. Still with his little alcohol bottles in the tub. With I mean, that ice is clearly melted by then, so it's just him in a pool of disgusting, dirty water.
No, not even
dirt.
water, because dirt.
That's true. It would just be dirt with like bottles, empty bottles all over him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
stupid, dude.
I was very disappointed in his arc, and I was very disappointed in Bernard's entire arc. The only redeeming moment in the episode was where Bernard had closure with Arnold's wife.
Yeah, that was good.
I was like, these are the scenes we've been missing all season. This was
that
one
was
of
a really
them.
good scene. Yeah, it was a really good scene.
Yeah, you know how we always say, oh, it's missing those touching personal moments? That was one of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is fucking great. But why did it have to happen just one of these like right now? You know, we should have had more of these moments.
Especially with Bernard, who didn't do anything this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
He's just always been behind Dolores, and literally, he's been behind her, like in everything. He never knew what she was gonna do. He never caught her in anything. He was always like 50 steps behind anything she was potentially done. It was just kind of like, you're just picking up breadcrumbs at this point, dude.
Right. Yeah.
You're never gonna get the meal. And I found that very frustrating because he is such a strong character, such a powerful character, that he was relegated to stupidity this season.
Right. That's why I like that this final episode did remind us that, hey, he is a copy of Arnold, and he still felt Arnold's emotions. So they showed us, okay, let's give him that closure, which means this is a new step for his story arc. That now he's free of his Arnold, I guess, guilt with the family and everything. Like, he's done. Now he's gonna be a totally new person, a messiah or some shit. Who the fuck knows where it's gonna take him? But
he's gonna try to replicate whatever it is that he found in the system.
Yeah. Now another character, since those two characters were wasted, another character wasted, Man in Black.
Oh, super wasted.
Wasted. We get one good moment of where we said he kind of completed his arc, where he killed himself.
Yeah.
And just accepted he's a terrible person, but it doesn't matter. I just accept the way it is, and I need to do what I got to do. But his plan after that was just so stupid. He's like, I'm going to kill all the robots. So I'm going to walk into the base where I think they're being made with a pistol that doesn't work because you've shot at them before. And it's just like, what was your... Like, the writing was absolutely awful for them to make him do that.
Yeah. It was forcing him to die to become the robot. That's all it was. That's all his arc was, all just for him to become a robot at the end.
Which a lot of people were furious that he got killed unceremoniously. Now I'm okay with that. I just didn't like everything else. I'm okay that he died and he'll come back as that, because I have a theory about that I'll get to in a minute.
All right.
But just the build up to that, like after that happened, I thought his entire arc didn't matter. You could have removed him, Stubbs, and Bernard from the season completely, and it would have been the exact same show.
Yeah, they didn't add anything to it.
Nothing at all. And it's unfortunate that those characters, even if it was a small side plot, it should have been an intriguing side plot. Yeah, and it wasn't.
Yeah, his lead up was essentially just to give Dolores a plan at the end of body doubling people or some whatever her plan is, which I think is body doubling.
Okay, so one thing I did like about this episode, as well, that remember we an episode or two ago we were like, what the fuck is Dolores's endgame? Like, why is she mad? What is all this about? Like, we didn't really understand what her motivations were. Completely confused. Now I understand. She was pretty much, the way I took it as, she's the Wyatt side of Dolores. She's just like, while Dolores is like, oh, humans might be able to be saved, Dolores is like, no, they're fucking awful. And just when I thought maybe there's something good, they kill my family, and I'm still feeling these emotions. So fuck them for real. They're terrible. And all right, now I'm gonna replace all of them, and you're stopping me because you want them to be free. So now I understood perfectly why they were clashing now. So I was like, thank you. I actually got that. I didn't get that before, but I get it now. So that makes me wonder now, back to the episode before where we were talking about how the Japanese girl killed the Yakuza guy.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, whose people were they? And I said, oh, they're Maeve's. No, now that I'm thinking about it, they were totally Dolores's girls. They weren't on Maeve's side at all because they never showed up when Maeve was on screen.
But they were printed with Maeve.
No, you didn't see them being printed with Maeve, though. You didn't see the bodies.
Because Maeve had, I think she had like 4 people being imprinted with her.
I think so too, but it's just weird. You never saw her in any of the squads. Yeah. So that's what made me think that was Chaloris that had them. Unless Chaloris leaked it to...
No, she did leak. Chaloris did leak it, yeah, for sure. Guaranteed at this point, Chaloris leaked it.
So they were definitely Maeves, they just weren't in the same scene because they split up to get the different Dolores.
Essentially.
Okay. I got you.
That's what I took from it all.
Okay.
And...
that makes sense.
And it still seems pointless, though. It just... I feel there was a lot of wastedness in this season, you know?
They pretty much were like, oh, let's get a cool death scene. Let's get a cool explosion. Let's get some cool special effects. And it's just like, yeah, but this didn't further the story in any interesting way. Because
you had the Japanese guy. He didn't do anything. Like, he was beyond pointless.
I mean, it was... It kind of was. But I understood the idea of it. It was trying to show that she was... I don't know, trying to get a control of certain areas. But, yeah. The Yakuza part, at least, we weren't really explained why.
Yeah. And how did that further her plan? I never understood that.
I never understood that. Maybe they explained it, and maybe it just didn't. We just didn't really catch it.
Because I have no idea how controlling the Yakuza helps you in your future to save humanity. And
unless it was controlling crime.
The only thing I could see from it also is because they had the blood, the liquid to make him.
I actually don't think that was the blood. I really think that was just sake.
Yeah,
because that was never brought up again either. So it makes me think it was just alcohol.
Yeah, for me, I still think they were controlling the liquid.
Yeah, so, that but part the thing wasn't is really explained too well.
But let's just say let's play my angle, right? Let's say that was the liquid. You have Delos to create more of them. How does that save humanity? Because if in her endgame, her entire plan was to save humanity, where do the robots fit in it? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Were you trying to... And she said she wanted to create a new species. So are you trying to tell me is that you wanted to merge humans and robots together? Like, I don't know. I never understood that. Because it's at the end, it made it seem like her entire plan was to only save humanity. Yeah, but you had other plans too, though, and you never described. Yeah. Why did you want Delos? Why did you take over the Yakuza? Why did you?
Which makes me think maybe she was trying to enact all plans at the same time until she decided on one of them. Because a lot of it hinged on her. I keep wanting to say Jesse Pinkman. on a lot of them hinged on Caleb. There you go. Fuck. On Caleb's decisions, because there was a lot of things that he did throughout the season where she was like, "Oh, a normal person wouldn't do that," or so it was kind of like him convincing her slowly throughout the season that we're worthy. So maybe she didn't really make up her mind until somewhere near the very end. I don't know.
But she had his data though, because she remembers him. She had his data from the Forge, because she remembered him. And she also
because she remembered him from the training.
So it's kind of
like, a weird scene too, because he never mentioned that. So you always knew? Yeah, he never mentioned it. So that part threw me off. It's like, oh wait, so did you remember that was her? But you obviously didn't, because you were surprised when she took the bullets. So it's just like, I don't know. Maybe you did forget, but
I think when he got his mind wiped, he wiped maybe major pieces of himself.
I mean, I guess that's true. That could be. He
was. But regardless, like things. She chose him. She specifically chose him because of the data of she found in the Forge of him. So it's kind of like you knew all along what you wanted to do. So why were you still trying to make up your mind about? I don't know, dude. The whole finale of hers didn't clarify anything of hers. So that kind of frustrated me.
Right. That's why I think a lot of this season was really just filler. Unfortunately, filler for whatever is coming next.
And then you finally saw her final pearl, which was the guy from the park. I forgot his name right now. That one that saved Bernard. So it was this guy, and what has he been doing this entire season? You get what I'm saying?
Wait, which guy are you talking about?
The guy who used to roll with the Man in Black in the park.
Oh, he's Dolores, right? Yeah,
he's Dolores. Exactly. So what has he been doing the entire season?
He was in charge of the police. So he's the inside man on the police. So like the rioters and shit like that.
But that was so pointless too. So you're telling me you had control of the police and you never said that? I was just like,
yeah. She had control of the police, control of the Yakuza. Man? Yeah, I don't know yet.
I would have loved to had followed these characters and realized that they were all Dolores or something, And the biggest reveal was in the middle of the season. It should have been at the end.
Yeah, where it was all Dolores. Well, there you go. There was your revelation. They did it in the middle only.
and I think that revelation would have played better at the end. Now that I think about it, I would have loved to have followed Dolores. I would have loved to have followed that last guy we find out the final pearl at I forgot his name right now. I would have loved to have followed him and seen why did Dolores choose these people? Like she barely knew them or whatever. And then come to realize, oh man, it's her this whole time. I think that would have been like even bigger. I don't know. It was just he was wasted.
One of the funny moments in this season, which I didn't realize until you told me, that the guy, the big dude is Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
The part where he fucking catches the tear gas canister and just chucks it. I was like, really?
I'm like, there it goes, man. There it goes.
Beast mode, baby. And then where he fucking just starts ramming through the barricade.
That's beast mode right there, dude. That's him.
Yeah, but that was another part. That was a little too. That was kind of like the Game of Thrones scene, where I'm like, ooh, you guys are like breaking the fourth wall a bit too much. Like I felt like that. I felt that with the Marshawn Lynch part. I was like, get the fuck out of here with that.
So essentially, they were all sacrificed for the apocalypse. Yeah,
they were sacrificed for the apocalypse.
Huh.
Okay, so here's the theory I was going to get into. So, at the end of season 2, we see William is back, clearly in the apocalypse because of how dusty and everything looks.
Yeah, but he's in the park though.
But he's in the park. But this is the William that is really William. Like, it's the perfect copy of him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the one that's going to be out in Apocalypse World. I'm going to call him the Man in White just because he was dressed, just to differentiate it.
Okay.
And then you got the Man in Black, which is the one that killed real William. Mm-hmm. The one that's Chaloris' person. Which is a cool throwback because the Man in Black in the original Westworld film is a straight, cold-blooded robot. So that's that version. That's the reference to the OG movie. So I got a feeling that Bernard is the one that brings him back and has him go through the whole fidelity test so that he can be out there and I guess combat the Man in Black.
So you think Bernard...
I think, obviously it's the far future, so who knows, but I think Bernard comes back from the Sublime with a revelation, clearly. Maybe the revelation is figuring out how to do the fidelity test correctly, maybe. And that's when he goes to the park and does it to combat because that's the new race that Dolores wanted. It's the perfectly real on the inside, but robot on the outside, compared to Chaloris's drones. So I think Bernard is creating the new race, starting with the man in white, to combat the Man in Black. So that's my theory of what the next season's going to be about. It is making copies, but it's either real copies of you or the fake Chaloris drone copies in Apocalypse World. So that's what I feel like it's all going to be about, man. And that's why I'm totally cool with Man in Black dying. I just didn't like his arc this season. but I'm totally cool with him being dead.
Yeah,
because
I'm okay with it.
Because we already know he's alive in the apocalypse differently.
Yeah, that's true.
But what's going to be interesting is that version of the Man in Black is not going to have the revelation that he got this season, which was like, I'm a terrible person. Who fucking cares? He's not going to have that. That's it. He's back to the one that's torn by the daughter. Unless him talking to his daughter right then and there fixes the problem, it's just going to be...
And you also got to realize that he realizes he's a robot now.
Yes.
He's like, oh shit, too. I am fake.
I'm a fucking can opener.
Yeah. So then he's going to be like, it doesn't matter what happened then, because I'm a robot and whatever happened already.
Maybe. Who knows how he'll react, so... But yeah. I'm definitely thinking that's that new race going on. It's going to be that.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory you got there. I like it. So what do you think Bernard finds in the Sublime? Like, does he see how the robots created a perfect civilization or something?
It could be. But a part of me thinks he's going to get that fidelity test going somehow. But yeah, there's something. He popped out and he was just like, whoa, like I got it, like voila. And it's like, what did you get? You know?
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we didn't touch upon, how did you feel about the quote unquote reveal
of Serac?
Of Serac?
I found it to be he's such a wasted character too.
You know,
he was a puppet the entire season.
Yes, and I'm actually okay with that.
I'm not okay with it in a sense of I wish, because I always thought that he used the system for his benefit. Mm-hmm. Instead, he just became the puppet of the system.
Yes.
It's just kind of like...
The system did whatever the system wanted.
And I was just like...
But I'm cool with that, because that's what he always wanted. He mentioned a lot in the earlier parts of the season that I never thought clearly he didn't care about wealth or any of that shit. So I never thought he fucked with the system for his benefit. I always thought he cooperated with the system for the betterment of humanity. I just didn't think it was literally listening to it and saying what it wants you to say. Like, that was like extreme. But that also made me think back to this season that it was a parallel to Westworld, where Rehoboam was creating a Westworld for people where everyone is a host, you know, metaphorically speaking, where they run through the program that they have to run through, the scenario that is given to them, just like the hosts in it. And it just showed that Serac was another one, only he willingly did it.
Yeah. Man, I think the thing is that after that revelation, I was just like, man, at this point, that theory of Serac being Rehoboam should have just been true. Like,
yes,
he should have just been Rehoboam should have just been Serac at this point,
because that's technically what it was. He was the mouthpiece for Rehoboam. Yeah. So why not the extra step of him actually being it? That's true.
What I'm saying. Like, you spent this whole time giving me this crap. I'm just like, it never mattered. It did, and he never mattered because he essentially was Rehoboam. So you just should have just gone the step of just making him Rehoboam, and he could have always been in a projection, and nobody ever noticed that because no one touched him.
I agree with that.
Like, no one ever touched him,
except
as far as I remember.
At the end,
exactly at the end, and that could have been the reveal. Like, oh crap, he has always been a projection. Like, but where does this projection come from, or something? You know. But I think that just would have played smarter or something. I don't know. That would have been a revelation. That would have been a twist. I'm like, oh crap.
I mean, but it was also one that everyone was expecting. So I don't know. Would it have? Maybe.
I wouldn't say everyone was expecting it. I think everyone was expecting the simulation. I think everything I read, everybody was like, oh, something here is a simulation. And it never happened.
Especially when they mentioned it in the beginning. What if this is all a simulation? It's like, are you just winking at us? Or were you just saying that on purpose to troll us into thinking the season was something else?
It was essentially a troll.
Yeah.
Straight up. It was a troll to all the Redditors.
The writers were like, yo, these guys overanalyze everything. Let's just fuck with them and make it about none of that and just make it very straightforward and next season we'll fuck with them or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I do hope they fuck with I hope they play to their fan base, dude, because their fan base was that Theory fan base, and this season,
right? If you keep it straightforward, the theories won't be going, and then you'll lose your audience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the audience that cares about your shit, because
yeah,
this still doesn't. It's not getting a lot of ratings. So if it's still not getting a lot of ratings with you going mainstream, then does it really matter for you to keep that mainstream going? You know.
And it sucks because they have 5 seasons planned. You know, so I really hope they don't get canceled at 4, because obviously they got their 4th. Mm-hmm. But now I'm wondering, is everyone so discouraged by this finale? Because I've been reading everyone. We're not the only ones. A lot of people are very underwhelmed by the finale.
And I hope that makes the writers realize that you going mainstream and streamlining the series is not going to make it better. Now you see that it didn't make it better. So just do what you've always done. You know, do the mindfuck that you always wanted or have always done.
Yeah, who cares if people are confused? Just fucking do it.
And at this point, that show is going to be relegated to HBO Max, I think. I don't think it's going to be an HBO proper show. I think this upcoming season is just going to be an HBO Max show. Because HBO Max needs content. And if they, let's just say they do give it to HBO, the final season it will be straight up a HBO Max. One or the other. If either 4 or 5.
I think it's that more. I think 4 is HBO, and then maybe the last one will be Max, because who knows how many people will still be watching by that point.
Yeah, and I think they let down the fan base that cared the most about it.
They did.
And the streamlined people, I don't see them talking about the show. And I think that's the biggest downfall of that they did. You know, I wanted to mention that this season felt like Aaron Paul was kind of like John Connor in the Terminator, essentially.
Okay,
He never did anything. Everybody around him did everything.
Yeah.
And it ended with the apocalypse. So
yeah. So here's my thing about that. I don't think he's coming back next season.
Oh yeah.
Because if they're gonna do this apocalypse time jump, who knows how far? But if they're going as far as I think, which is a long time, then yeah, man.
I think they're gonna do a merge of two things next season, because you have Maeve and John Connor trying to do stuff.
John Connor.
So, I think they're gonna jump between timelines. I think next season they're gonna give you another but mixture of 2 timelines.
But think about it. How cool would it have been if, let's just say the next season is the apocalypse that we're thinking of. How cool would it have been if you start with the apocalypse and you're like, what the fuck happened? And through the flashbacks, through the alternate timeline, you get what season 3 was, just more condensed.
Yeah.
And you would have been like, oh, that's how it happens. I mean, come on. That would have been pretty cool. Instead, they turned that into an entire season of filler. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think next season is going to be a balance of both. So how did you feel about Aaron Paul's character then?
You know,
with his completeness now that show's over.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. He was just a typical everyman. I didn't love the character, but I didn't hate the character. I thought he was just there.
I didn't like how they tried to add another layer to him in the last 30 minutes of the show.
Oh, you're talking about
the decisions.
The scene at Casualties of War, which was I was like, you guys are totally ripping off the movie Casualties of War, the movie with like Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
In Vietnam. I was like, yeah.
I just didn't like that new layer you're trying to add to him when you could have just done it throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, your decisions you made you why I chose you. I'm just like,
yeah.
Since when?
I'm cool with yeah. The thing is, there could have been a better way to show that revelation rather than that one moment. You know, like wow, that one moment just because he didn't want to fuck like rape these robots. That's the one moment that made you realize he's a good person. That's it.
Yeah,
because he wasn't feeling it. I mean, but so the metaphor of it is what I liked. The fact that she didn't want someone good. She didn't want someone bad. She wanted someone normal that had the capability of being good or bad. That's what she wanted. She wanted the perfectly balanced person, and that's what he is. He is the perfectly balanced person because you see him do good and you see him do bad throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
So the idea of him is really good. I just think because he was so normal,
non-existent. Yeah,
normal and like bland. That's why I didn't give a shit about him because he wasn't one way or the other. You know, we like the he's super bad. The fact that you're perfectly neutral, it kind of makes you like not interesting. He's the Ross from Friends. Like it was a little.
But I think would have made him better if he had a drive, and he didn't.
No, he didn't. His drive was, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I don't know who I am, or no. Okay, so his basic drive was like, I want to get rid of this system because I don't want it to tell me what to do because it ruined my life. It made me go this certain way. So I get that, but it was just, he didn't have an end game in mind. It was just like, this, and then Dolores like, now you need to lead them, and he's just like, I need a what?
Yeah, I think they should have gave him more opportunities to make decisions that you could see. I like that decision. Let's do that. Or something that she was totally dragging him along the whole time. That's true. He didn't show any leadership capability at all. He didn't show anything, dude. He was literally the grunt, and I wish they would to show this season.
And it's like, you had this grunt along the entire time, and that's the one who you want to lead humanity. Yeah. It was a little. Her definite revelation for making him the John Connor didn't make sense.
It didn't at all because you didn't ever saw it, and the show didn't give you enough for you to be like, oh man, that's right. Oh, when he did that, when he did that, when he did this, there was never that moment. It was kind of like, oh really? Now you're giving me this for what?
Yeah. Like I said, the symbolism was there, but it just wasn't believable. So it's just like in the end, it was like, eh.
Yeah. I didn't like it, man. So it again, wrap it up. This season was okay. It just wasn't.
It's
Westworld. Yeah. It didn't. Fuck it. It just didn't. It didn't give you something. I don't know. I feel like I was missing something throughout the last half of the show. For
sure. Definitely, because the first half we're like, ooh, look at this new world. Oh, yeah, world building. This is great. And the second half is like, you're not doing anything with this. That's keeping us going. Yeah,
like it was great because you had a slow burn of catching up to everybody. The first 5 episodes, then in the last 5 episodes, you just kind of went, let's do this quick. We have somewhere to go.
The show peaked at the Dolores reveal. That's where the show peaked. The season peaked.
Essentially, yeah. And it was unfortunate. Hopefully they could bounce back to their mindfuckery next season.
I hope so.
How they should be. Any last thoughts?
No, that's it. Cool. I'm very curious about next season. I hope it's better.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, everyone, let us know. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think about the season finale of Westworld. How did you feel about it? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me and Pedro that it was essentially an underwhelming season / finale? Share your thoughts with us. We'd like to hear them. Till next time.
Bye-bye.